Thanks for checking out this archived episode of the Ticket Stub. Connor here, one of the hosts of the show. I'm doing this while Dick is away. Guys, I know that y'all love the show, but I know that he is the worst part. I'm trying to find another co-host, so if any of y'all have any ideas, please let me know. But in the meantime, go ahead and subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, all at the Ticket Stub Podcast. You can send us an email at theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook at the Ticket Stub. And be sure to listen live every Thursday on irlonestar.com or FM 104.5 and 106.1 in the Conroe area. Thanks and enjoy the show.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Shall we begin?
Welcome, everybody, moviegoers, movie lovers, to the Ticket Stub. This is Connor Halstead here with my co-host Dick Schischler, and we are excited to be with you today. Dick, are you on?
Hey, am I on?
There he is.
There you go.
All right, smooth start as always,
Yeah.
right?
Try.
Dick, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. We have an intern, or we have an engineer today, so it's a little different. I usually engineer, so it's going to be, hopefully, can you not see my screen? Because I have naughty things on my laptop right now. So hopefully, this is going to be our first YouTube show, by the way.
So we're available like any way you could ever want to hear, see, listen.
Yeah, we are all over yourself if you want us to be. And so we'll make sure we got our Google Play and we got our iTunes set up. So if those are your podcast platforms, look up the Ticket Stub. And then also on YouTube, we're filming today's show, and we have a good show.
I think we've got a great show
Lined up. And I want to say good morning to you.
And good morning to you as
Or
well.
good afternoon. It's 12, I guess.
Well, whatever it is. But also don't forget to check us out on Facebook.
Yeah, that's where we're going to post everything and communicate with you. We also have a Gmail account.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the podcast and you want to late night message us, it's the theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, so if you ever have an idea, a topic, if there's something you think we should cover, something we need to talk about, feel free to send us the Gmail, the Ticket Stub Podcast. Feel free to hit us up on Facebook. Or you can go to the irlonestar.com and you can message the show there. You can comment on a YouTube video we're going to post. And again, be sure you're subscribing to those iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, because all those things are going to be ways it's going to remind you the show's coming up. If you're a little bit new, the show's new, so as you get used to listening, that'll help keep you up to date with what's going on and all the new shows we're putting out.
Yeah, but I'm kind of excited. We got everything almost done. We're about 99% done with the website. That's irlonestar.com/TTS for the Ticket Stub. And then, again, we're all over the place, so it's really cool.
Yeah, so this is show number 2.
Show number 2. Or I guess 2.5 because we did that preview.
Yeah, 2.5. We don't want to count that one.
That's the underground.
That's right. That's secret release at a later date. But okay, so we're gonna go ahead and hop right in.
Yeah, dude.
For those, if you didn't listen last week,
Well, you should have.
you should have, and you need to go back and re-listen so you can catch up on everything that we're going to talk about today. But we did a little segment called Web Gems last week, and we each recommended movies from both Amazon and Netflix. Some that we had seen that we wanted other people to watch, and some that we hadn't seen that we were committing to watching. And so. And we also assigned each other a little bit of homework, and so we're going to check in on those. So Dick, what was one of the movies from last week that you got a chance to see?
Well, you're talking about your ones you recommended?
Yeah.
You recommended The Big Short.
Yeah.
So I did check that out, and I was pleasantly surprised.
I told you it was good.
It was really well made, well acted. The only thing I didn't like about it was it definitely had the in-your-face message at the end. And it kind of asked you a question: what can you do about it? About this whole crisis that clearly people broke the law, but no one got in trouble. And the weird thing about that kind of movie is this is a mainstream movie. This isn't a documentary.
Yeah.
They're trying to shift your viewpoint on it. And I was like, come on, man! You just made a whole movie, like an entertainment movie. Now you're gonna try to get me to decide things. Like I don't think we got all the information through this movie. Even though they try to explain everything in the most simple format with those little cool little
You like that? You like those little explanations, or did you not?
I mean, I did, but for the sake of the movie, I did. But for the sake of the argument, all those people go to jail. I don't know, because that's not how the law works.
Yeah, see, I got something different from the end of The Big Short, and we don't want to give away the ending. But when I left the movie, I didn't feel like they were trying to preach at me as much as I felt like depressed about the state of of banking the economy and everything like that, because it kind of leaves you with a little sour taste in your mouth
Oh yeah.
at the end about things. And I guess you're taking that as being preached at, and I took that as like, oh gosh, it's
Well, no, for the characters, that was neat.
Yeah.
Because it really did had several stories, and they concluded each story. And as a movie, that was neat. But like I said, at the end, with the voiceover from that actor, I forget. I always want to call him Ryan Reynolds, but his name's not Ryan Reynolds.
I don't remember.
I
Who
don't know.
did
The guy who
voiceover.
did La La Land. Help me out.
Oh, Ryan Gosling.
We're gonna have that
Yeah, Ryan
happen a lot
Gosling.
with me.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan Gosling was the narrator throughout the film. And
That's right.
Definitely towards the end, there was a narration of him
Mm-hmm.
making a comment about all the people getting. I don't want to ruin it for people.
Yeah.
But
Please
yeah.
don't.
But
Okay, so would you say
it had nothing to do with the characters.
thumbs up, thumbs down to our listeners out there who are thinking about Big Short? It's on.
Oh, definitely watch it on Netflix. That's,
Yeah.
Catch it while it's still there. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
I would say definitely that's a thumbs
Very,
up.
very well acted movie. So I was entertained throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, Steve Carell's great.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan
Oh
Gosling's
yeah,
great.
yeah, they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
So I recommended to you Days of Thunder.
Okay, and I saw Days of Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
Days of Thunder is available on Netflix for anyone who hasn't seen it. I feel like this was the kind of movie that if you were alive and around when it came out, you probably saw it. But if you're a little bit younger, it came out in 1990. So if you weren't in your prime movie-going stage at that time, you very well missed Days of Thunder. Now, this is directed by Tony Scott, who also directed Top Gun. And, Dick, you said it feels very much like Top Gun, and you're right.
No, it was Top Gun, but with race cars.
Well, it was a little bit different than Top Gun, but it had a lot of it was like Tom Cruise could have been just the same person. He could have been a jet pilot earlier in his career and then become a race car driver. But
Totally.
it's about NASCAR or race car driving. And I will say that last week we talked a little bit about theater versus at-home viewing.
Yeah.
And one of my difficulties with at-home viewing is that I'm so tempted to watch it in several different sittings, not sit down and watch the whole movie through. And that definitely happened with Days of Thunder.
It's your ADD.
It's my ADD kick
Okay.
in. I watched it in four. It took me 4 viewings total to complete Days of Thunder.
Gross, dude.
I know, and that kills a movie when you do it like that. And so I apologize, and my view is probably skewed a little bit because of that.
Horrible.
I will say the sound was awesome.
I told you.
I turned the bass up. I got it going on the surround sound, and it was fantastic. Like when the cars are driving by, and it's like 90% just cars driving around a circle. And when that's happening, you're in. It's cool. It's exciting.
It's a well-made movie.
And there's some crashes that man, it gets intense. Like the effects that they did on that, the way they did those car crash scenes, pretty exciting. You said Top Gun. I would say a worse Top Gun. You said it is the same. I'm gonna go ahead and say Top Gun.
It's not like they took names out and replaced
Yeah,
them with
for
new
sure,
names.
for sure.
And then every time there's an airplane, there's a car.
Yeah.
But I meant more of the mentality of the Tom Cruise character.
Yeah.
The same. Like Tom Cruise is the same character.
Except for I just love Top Gun. Maybe it's just I'm just biased to Top Gun. I just love it so much, and I feel like this was not as good a movie. But one of the things that was like at the very beginning, Tom Cruise just comes in and like he was kind of a daredevil, willing to drive crazy, no limits. And then within what seems like a few months, he won like 4 in a row NASCAR races or something like that. And I don't know a lot about NASCAR, but I imagine it's not that easy just to come in and take over and become a dominant racer.
Well, that is one thing that we aren't familiar with is I don't understand the leagues.
Yeah.
In racing, so I don't imagine there's just one league and everyone races at the top. I think there's got to be little circuits, and they didn't really get that in the movie.
No, they didn't. He just comes in as like, I'll do anything.
But you don't know what circuit he's in.
Well, that's true.
So they never really go, this is the Daytona until the end. I think the end's like the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
So he finally reached that. But,
so maybe that was supposed to be some more minor races as he was kind of
or
moving
you
up.
probably missed them because you only watched 25 minutes
or
each viewing.
Or they explained it and I was tuned out at that point. But Days of Thunder, all in all, if you're looking for a good action movie, if you're looking for a movie that you don't have to like be so engaged in the plot, it's the perfect one. Dick, were there any other movies you saw this week?
I did see Buckaroo Banzai in the Battle for the Eighth Dimension, I think it was. But that movie, I'm just going to tell you straight up, if you're looking for a kooky movie that you want to impress people by knowing about, and you've seen it, it's a very select few people have seen this movie. That's how I heard about it. You need to see it because it doesn't make any sense, but it's not like Brazil or some other kooky, weird Landvars, whatever his name is, who did like Antichrist and stuff, which is just out of this world crazy. This is just goofy, fun, / like how do all these actors get together and make this movie back in the 80s?
So it's almost better for like trivia to know about it
Yes.
than actually having seen it.
So I mean, I would definitely watch it because it's rare. I didn't realize how rare it was to see it, and now that it's on Amazon, that's why I was like, I got to see this movie because I've been so many people have been telling me about it, and the only time I can ever see it was on Amazon for like $20, $25. Like, that's not worth renting. But now you can watch it.
Well, a buddy of mine who listened to the show last week watched Buckaroo Banzai. Said it was the weirdest movie he's ever seen.
I'm telling you, it was. Well, my favorite thing about it is I almost wanted to buy merchandise because Buckaroo has a band, and so it's like the
Banzettes.
No,
Buckaroo
I
and
want
the
to look at it real quick because it's really clever and they have a cool emblem. And so like the kid had a hat and I had the emblem. I was like, I would totally buy that sticker
Okay.
because like the Banzai team or Banzai like in the Hong Kong something,
Yeah.
and it's random.
So you're wanting some Buckaroo
Is it
swag.
Banzai or Bonsai?
I don't know. I keep
He's been saying
I don't
Banzai
know.
this whole time, but I feel like that's not a word, so it's probably Bonsai.
It's Banzai.
Oh, it is Banzai.
So
Okay.
that's-
Well, it just shows how weird the movie is. Even that word is not a real word.
it's the Buckaroo Banzai and his crime fighting team, the Hong Kong Cavaliers. So that's like the logos and stuff all over the van or the bus. They have a bus they travel around in, and it's just.
Usually with movies, the more words in the title, the better. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
longer the title,
Well, the title is officially The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension.
yeah.
So he's a rock and roll guy. He's a scientist. He is a diplomat. And, yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, see, my movie was about the housing crisis, and and
telling
yours
you.
is about the eighth dimension and a band of. Is he a human or like a?
He's a human.
Okay.
And it's almost like the guy wrote a script of space travel, and he's like, no, I really want to make him like a rock and roll guy, too. So there's like a couple scenes of him like singing with the band.
Okay. Can we feel good like we've talked about this movie and we never have to talk about it
That's
again?
true. All right,
Okay.
we actually had to take a break. So
We do. We've got a few more web gems when we come back, a few more things to touch, and later on in the episode, we'll be talking about general admissions, movies that we're ashamed to admit we like. So,
Yeah, so
join us on the Ticket Stub.
let us know your thoughts on that on Facebook, too, The Ticket Stub. And you are listening to The Ticket Stub every Thursday at noon here and podcasted on Google Play and iTunes. So we'll be back. Hey there, Ticket Stub listeners. I wanted to tell you a quick opportunity for our next show on May 4th at noon on Lone Star Community Radio. We're going to be giving away 2 tickets for the 7th Annual Taste Fest, brought to you by the Lake Conroe Chamber of Commerce. We're going to do it live on the air, so stay tuned for that. If you don't know what Taste Fest is and when it is, on May 11th at the Lone Star Convention Center from 5 to 8 p.m., they're going to be doing a kind of a collection of all the restaurants in the area, giving away samples. Tickets are $15 in advance, $25 at the door. So technically, this is a $50 deal we're going to be giving away live on the air on the Ticket Stub. It includes 2 adult beverages if you're 21 or older, and it gains you entry into it. Again, you can find more information at conroe.org for Taste Fest. Make sure to tune in live through the Ticket Stub to win 2 tickets to the upcoming Taste Fest. That's on May 4th. We're giving them away. May 4th show, live on the air at noon. So if you're hearing this now, mark your calendars, noon, the Ticket Stub on Lone Star Community Radio.
Back here on the Ticket Stub with Connor and Dick. We just spent a little time recapping some of our web gems from last week, and we're going to finish those off right now, reviewing the movies that we recommended or talked about last week. This next movie I want to talk about, Dick, is one that I hadn't seen before last week. I had just heard about it and was kind of curious. And it was one that you were kind of curious about as well. It was called Swiss Army Man. No,
Yeah.
You didn't get a chance to see that this week, did you?
No,
Okay.
I did not.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about Swiss Army Man.
The thing about crappy movies
Yeah.
is you get tired of watching movies.
Okay.
And I
It
would say
burns you out.
Buckaroo took it out of me for like a day or two because I was like, I just couldn't get it. And I was like, this movie's crazy. I like it, but I don't like it in a sense of if they made a sequel, I'd totally see it the next day.
Yeah.
But so Swiss Army Man.
Swiss Army Man. So it's available on Amazon Instant right now.
Yeah.
2016. So it's a little bit, it's not an old movie, but it's a new director, or a pretty new director, a guy named Daniel Kwan, and it's got Paul Dano, who you may recognize, Prisoners, There Will Be Blood. Daniel Radcliffe, he's in a small movie franchise called Harry Potter, and then Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who I really like from Scott Pilgrim and 10 Cloverfield Lane. Anyways, this movie was, we talked a little bit about it last week, but essentially this guy, the opening scene, he is fixing a noose around his neck on a desert island, about to hang himself. He's trapped on this desert island, about to kill himself, and right before he does, he looks and there's a dead body that's washed up. And so he runs over to investigate what's going on. The dead body's Daniel Radcliffe, and it turns out that it over time kind of animates. The body does, like it comes back to life in a way. There's always something a little bit weird about it, and so you start to believe that everything that's happening is not real. Like everything that Paul Dano thinks is happening is
it's in
not.
his mind or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, my take on this movie was so strange, so very strange, but in a really interesting and kind of sweet way. Like there was kind of a heartfelt sweetness to it, even though it was weird. And the whole time you're like, what is going on right now? But the other, like, it kind of taps in, and it kind of taps into like a weird sentimentality, I guess, or something of like they're trapped in this remote place, but they're reflecting on the real world and
Like
love and life and everything like that.
Well, I'm gonna have to transition, and it's funny with a movie like that. It's kind of like the Stranded movies,
Yeah.
or the environment versus the man movie. And I watched Indianapolis, Men of Courage, which is about the World War II ship that crashed, the USS Indianapolis, or not crashed, it was sunk by a Japanese sub, leaving 300 crewmen stranded in shark-infested waters. That's the movie I thought I was going to be watching.
Okay.
The reason I heard about this movie is Nicolas Cage is in it, so my Nicolas Cage radar came up, and I was like, "Gotta watch this movie, man."
Your Nicolas Cage app went off.
Oh yeah, and overall, the movie I thought it was about 300 men being stranded in the water, so it's one of those stranded movies. But no, it was about Nicolas Cage being the captain and like the history of the Indianapolis and exactly what their special mission was. Overall, the movie I would say is a C, which I was expecting. The special effects is notably as similar to Sharknado.
So really good.
So really good and
Okay.
very entertaining. The script itself had too many plots in it, and it had Pearl Harbor in it, the movie Pearl Harbor in it, and then it had a little bit of Jag, the TV show Jag, and then it definitely had the typical stranded movie, because that's one thing I was going to comment about. Swiss Army is one thing I was thinking about as they're making this movie is how do you create an entertaining, ongoing conversation in one scene?
Yeah.
Or when I say scenario, so they're all stranded. So how do I do 45 minutes of them just sitting on water? And imagine trying to write that. And this movie does every stereotype in the Army, in love. Like the Pearl Harbor aspect was such a shoe-in because they had every movie for some reason has to have a love story, and it made no sense. They just rushed it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, meet my dad. He's from society, and of course the dad didn't approve of anybody. And then that was the conflict, and of course they're going to war, so he didn't get to ask her to marry her. And then the friend's like, "Oh, you got a ring."
Who would have thought that the script wasn't going to be really solid with
I
Nicolas
know.
Cage in the Indianapolis?
Yeah, I just didn't know.
I feel like there's a lot of writers that when they're writing the movie, it's like they have a checklist of things that have to be included. It's like disapproving father, check. Love that doesn't make sense to society, check. Friend that was your friend, but then you made him mad. And now you're not friends anymore,
Yeah.
but you're trying to become friends, check. And it's like that's just like
Well, by far the best scene in the movie was Tom Sizemore holding his leg and having a casual conversation.
why was he?
with?
What was wrong
Well,
with his
because
leg?
the ship went down,
Yeah.
and he lost his leg.
Oh, his leg was
and
chopped
so,
off.
Yeah, like completely off. And
So he was
Nicolas
just holding
Cage is tending to it, giving him the little morphine hits, and then they put the belt on the leg, but they're having a conversation, and I kid you not, Sizemore is holding his leg with his foot, like the sole of his foot, against his chin.
Well, he didn't want to lose it, man.
And it was it was great. I liked it, and it was overacted, and the shark scenes were fantastic because they did a couple that were really good, like Open Water, the movie Open Water. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. That was a really cool shark movie because you didn't really see the sharks, the suspense. They had those scenes, and then they had the Sharknado scenes where the shark literally jumps out of the water and eats a guy right in front of another guy. And I'm like, come on, sharks don't do that. They don't go out of the water, they grab you. They go underwater to grab you. Everyone kind of has that scary Jaws.
I've seen
notion.
Shark Week. Yeah.
So it was just because it really, like, for 20 minutes, I was in.
Yeah.
I was like, this movie's not bad. And then they throw that stuff at you, and you're like, oh, come on.
Pulls you right out.
Pulls you right back out. So, but yeah.
All right. Well, USS Indianapolis.
Yeah, totally see
Solid
it.
C.
If you love horror movies, totally see it.
Okay, perfect. Well, the last movie I'll talk about is called Eddie Strongman. It's available on Netflix. It is a documentary about Eddie Hall. He is trying to become the world's strongest man. And the reason I wanted to watch this movie was because, like I said last week, I used to like watching those World's Strongest Man competitions. They were always really interesting to me. It seems like they were always on ESPN. At any moment, there was something on. And I hadn't seen as much about it lately. So when I heard about, a friend told me about this documentary, I was all in to watch it. And I'll tell you that Eddie is a dude who grew up in like a rough part of the UK, and kind of like white trash, rundown, poor. and basically this was strength and strongman and working out. It was kind of his way out, and it was kind of his passion. And what's funny is he's a really rough around the edges guy, all tattooed, curses a lot, everything like that. But he's really got like like you really fall, you really kind of like or become on his side by the end of the movie. You really end up kind of loving him as a character. He goes through a journey of trying to figure out how to balance a family and the rigors of working.
Be a strong man.
I mean, these guys work out like 24 hours a day almost, it seems
and
like.
Eat even more.
Yeah, and and the amount of money it takes, and there's really no money in it. You don't get paid a lot as a strong man. You think maybe, I don't know if you think you would or not, but the sponsorships aren't really there. The sport's not super popular, so there's not a lot of money. It's everything you have all day long, and it's all he wants is to be able to be the strongest man in the world. And there's some really cool scenes as he's getting there, some landmarks he hits. He sets a world record as he's going for a certain kind of lifting, which is pretty awesome to see that. And I really got emotionally tied into this guy and was really rooting for him. And now it makes me like, I think the World's Strongest Man's about to come up here in the next couple weeks.
Oh,
or
the
months.
competition.
Yeah, the real competition. So now I'm like all in to follow it. Like I want to know.
In it?
He's competing.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's perfect.
He's competing, so he's all
That's perfect.
wanting to figure out like how he's going to do and everything. And he's a contender. Like he's one of the top guys at this point.
Is it going to be on ESPN? Do you know?
I don't know. I need to look that up.
I haven't seen it on television in like 5 years, but I used to love it.
Yeah, it used to be always on, but now it hasn't been as much. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to track it down because I'm Team Eddie all day long. So anyway, so Eddie Strongman, I would say if you like documentaries, if you've one of those people who've seen the World's Strongest Man competitions before, give it a watch. Or even if you just like stories of a guy going for his passion, pursuing it at all costs. It's pretty inspiring too. As I'm sitting on the couch like eating, and he's there just like working out all day long. I'm starting to like self-evaluate, like maybe I need to go for a jog or something like that. But it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, definitely cool. So, okay, all right. So we recapped the web gems. We'll go ahead. We just got a few minutes before we take our first break. Second break. Sorry, whatever.
Newbie.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've got general admissions. Well, there's a couple movies that each of us are going to talk about that were a little bit.
Let's talk about that next break. How about that?
Let's do that. A couple movies that we're a little bit embarrassed that we like. Maybe we've seen. I don't know what has made you see the two movies or the movies you're going to talk about, Dick. But for me, there's a couple situations that have brought them about. But I'm interested to see if anybody out there has a movie that they're a little bit embarrassed that they love. Please comment on the Facebook.
Well, what's funny about that, and before we go into the movies in the next segment, is guys are always going to have the chick flicks that they like. There's got to be at least one that's qualified chick flick movie it's adequate. And I wonder what girls are. So that's the one thing I want to hear is like, do girls have the opposite where like they like a certain action movie that is,
and they're like ashamed.
They're like Commando.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm talking really like it. Like, because there's certain movies, there are movies like the two movies I have, I can just kind of watch. I can watch them over and over and over and over, and it doesn't bother me. But before we go to the break, though, we have like 4 more minutes, I think, 3 more minutes, 2 more minutes.
1 more minute.
Well, one thing I wanted to make sure I want to tell you is I want to check out a movie I want to watch this week. Besides Faye the Furious, because I really haven't seen that movie.
Okay.
I really want to check it out. I want to watch The IP Man.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen that. It got a lot of reviews. It's on Netflix. It's one of those action kung fu things that have to do with the past kung fu. Like, apparently this guy's really good, the guy who's the main character, and they have like 3 of them. And each year they come out with one. It's like even bigger and better or whatever.
Is it IP Man or Ip Man?
I don't know. I'll call it IP Man because
whatever.
that's how you can look it up. IP Man. So
yeah, I've seen that and I've heard about that. Like
so you have seen it?
No, I've seen it on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
I haven't watched it.
Well, because I wasn't originally going to watch that movie. I was going to watch this movie called Ninja Assassin.
Okay.
Because it was co-produced by the Wachowski sisters, I guess now.
Yeah, now they're formerly brothers.
But what it was is I was watching this thing about cult movies, and what's a Ninja Assassin apparently has a lot of history to it. Like to the development of the movie. So I started, looking at that and seeing how they got the script. And the guy who wrote the script, I want to say, what was it? I'm going to look it up. I'll have it up by the next segment, I bet. It's the guy who wrote it. Because the guy who wrote it is a really good writer. Let me just, one second. I'm on IMDb real quick. I'm going to find it before we go to the break.
And Ip Man, so you were in this like kung fu mood or something like that. Like you wanted to watch some fighting.
The guy who wrote it wrote Babylon 5.
Okay.
That's a TV series back in the 90s, and it's like Star Trek. But I was like, that's kind of random. Why the heck would he write Ninja Assassin? But that's another person that attracted me to watch that movie.
But you
They
pivoted.
don't have it available.
Okay.
So the next thing to it was IP Man. So I was like, okay, I'll watch that movie.
All right. So you'll be ready to talk about IP Man next week.
Yeah, I want to check it out.
All right. Perfect. Sounds good.
What about you? What are you going to watch? Think about it. Coming back.
Oh, I'll think about it. When we come back, I'll talk about what I'm going to watch next week. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with our general admissions here on the Ticket Stub.
Hey there, Ticket Stub listeners. I want to tell you a quick opportunity for our next show on May 4th at noon on Lone Star Community Radio. We're going to be giving away 2 tickets for the 7th Annual Taste Fest, brought to you by the Conroe Lake Conroe Chamber of Commerce. We're going to do it live on the air, so stay tuned for that. If you don't know what Taste Fest is and when it is, on May 11th at the Lone Star Convention Center from 5 to 8 p.m., they're going to be doing a kind of a collection of all the restaurants in the area, giving away samples. Tickets are $15 in advance, $25 at the door. So technically, this is a $50 deal we're going to be giving away live on the air on the Ticket Stub. It includes 2 adult beverages if you're 21 or older, and it gains you entry into it. Again, you can find more information at conroe.org for Taste Fest. Make sure to tune in live through the Ticket Stub to win 2 tickets to the upcoming Taste Fest. That's on May 4th. We're giving them away. May 4th show, live on the air at noon. So if you're hearing this now, mark your calendars, noon, the Ticket Stub on Lone Star Community Radio.
All right, back here on the Ticket Stub, Connor and Dick talking everything about movies, all things movies, anything you could ever want to know about movies here on the Ticket Stub every Thursday at noon on Conroe 104.5 or 106.1. Also irlonestar.com, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on SoundCloud, on YouTube, any and everywhere you want to find us. Just use the Ticket Stub or the Ticket Stub podcast in the search bar, and you'll be able to get to us that way. Also on Facebook. Please hop in. We're about to talk general admissions, movies that we're ashamed to admit we like. If you've got one you want to go ahead and post on the Facebook page, we would love to make fun of you on air for your bad taste. And or maybe that's bad. I don't know if that's bad radio right there, Dick. But we'd love to.
We'll just say your first name. How about that?
Yeah, we won't give your address out, but we'll just say your first name. But first, a movie Dick before the break talked about. He was going to try to check out IP Man or It Man. We're not really sure which one it is.
And I probably won't care what their official. I just call it IP Man.
Okay, IP Man. It's a movie
That's the
about
next movie I wanna see.
websites and everything like that. IP addresses
And Fate of the Furious. I'm going to try to see Fate of the Furious this weekend.
Please do. Like, you just need to. It's time. It's
I think
past time.
it's something that I need to do.
Yeah, you owe it to yourself as an American, and as a man, and as the co-host of a movie podcast, in that order. But the movie that I'm going to try to see this week. It's on Amazon. It is a movie called GoldenEye. I don't know. Have you seen GoldenEye?
You mean James Bond? You've never seen it?
I know.
Oh, man.
I know. This is almost like a general admission of shame.
Yeah.
Not a general admission that I have seen but haven't.
No, you're gonna enjoy that movie, man. That's I mean, have you ever played the video game?
Yes. Okay. So let me tell you, like, James Bond has been a part of my life, but I've never been like one who, like, when I was younger, I never saw him for whatever reason.
Really?
So I've seen all of the modern ones. And I've seen a couple, like I've seen Die Another Day. I've seen a couple Pierce Brosnan ones. What was the one where, which one was Halle Berry in? Where she was like...
Die Another Day.
Yeah, Die Another Day, okay.
Madonna did the theme song, and it's like, die. Yeah, I mean,
hold on, keep going.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, please keep going.
But no, that's the only reason I know it's that one, because how horrible that song is.
But anyways, I've never seen GoldenEye, so I need to. The game.
Perfect.
I've played 1,000 hours of the GoldenEye game on Nintendo 64. You know, and where you could do paintball mode, Donkey Kong mode, only slapper mode. You know, whatever you can imagine. But I don't know the game I don't know the movie that's inspired it all. So GoldenEye, it came out in 1995, so it's a little bit of a classic. But I'm excited to finally see that. I've been looking for an excuse to make just to sit down and do it. And so this will be the perfect chance to come back and talk about it next week. So
perfect.
Next week
it's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Prime?
Yeah,
Perfect.
Amazon Prime. Free. Free if you have Amazon Prime. Which, if you don't have Amazon Prime at this point, come on, guys.
Or find someone else. You can it's not as easy as Netflix. I have no idea. I think Netflix is really easy just to borrow.
Yes.
I mooch off of my grandmother's Prime.
So Prime, it does work. You can use it. Because I feel like
Typical millennial.
Amazon would be one of those people that's like, oh, you got to authenticate this device and have to go through all these hoops just to get it working. But Netflix is literally just name and password. So
our grandparents fought in the World Wars, and we steal their Amazon Prime
perfect.
accounts. You know, we're the worst. All right, so we're gonna do general admissions.
See, this is an interesting topic because I feel like guys are always going to do chick flicks. I think that's kind of the thing that they're ashamed of liking. which is the stereotype and also it's not really a stereotype for me. Like I don't generally like chick flicks.
Yes, because they're usually bad.
Well, some of them are like the logic is just really bad, and that's one thing I hate. Like it's not hard to make a chick flick a normal movie, but some of it adds a lot of elements that are just so ridiculous, especially like when it has to do with the female psyche, and it's clearly not made for guys, and clearly guys aren't supposed to really follow like what's going on.
Well, it's because the female psyche is not linear and easy to follow.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
true.
it would.
That's what I don't agree with, because there are certain movies that I like that have a female protagonist, and I like it.
I agree with
And
that.
I like strong female leads, and for some weird reason, it happens to be foreign movies. Like most foreign movies that have a female lead, I dig it more.
Okay.
I don't know if that's just because the way
Because you're like a hipster and you want to like foreign movies, though.
I,
Right?
I don't know. I think it's just the way the writers are, and when they write female leads, it's just.
Well, they're probably more evolved than we are in America, so they're probably a couple steps ahead. Maybe we'll get there someday.
I don't know. It's just kind of. I know that sounds really sexist to say about American movies, but there hasn't really been a good a woman lead role movie here.
I would disagree with that. But,
Where? Like what movie? What recent movie can you think of that has?
Well, oh shoot, what was the one with? I don't know who wrote it, but that Brie Larson Room movie. Did you see that? Where
Yes.
I really liked that movie, and she was the primary character, I would say. And that was up for some awards and things like that. But that was definitely a drama. The chick flick is a different category, I would say. Chick flick does not mean drama. Chick flick is
That's
usually
true.
romance.
I take that back. Yeah.
Like quote unquote comedy, sometimes comedy,
'Cause
sometimes attempted comedy.
I don't think it's Brie Larson.
Not Brie Larson.
No, Brie Larson is the woman in the room.
Yeah, The Room.
Yeah, I'm talking about I was trying to figure who it was, but they're going to be the Tomb Raider. They're coming out.
Or
with
they're redoing Tomb
Yeah, they're
Raider?
redoing Tomb Raider.
Well, what about
Strong female
what about,
role right there.
What about Wonder Woman? I mean, that's coming out soon.
I'm very interested to see how they do her, because in the comic she's always been the strongest person, pretty much besides Superman.
Yeah.
Like in the superhero world. So I'm really interested to see how they do that, especially with her relationships with Superman and Batman, because there's always been kind of a thing going on between them. Diana.
That'll be it.
Her last name is Diana something. I forgot that's her first name, but
I don't know. I'm a little bit over superhero movies at this point.
Are you serious?
but I'll see it. And I mean,
general admissions, we got focus.
okay,
here.
yeah, we got to get focused here. General admissions. I'll start. And Dick, what you said is exactly true with my first general admission, not with my second one, but talking about movies that I'm embarrassed to admit that I like. The first one is a movie from 2008 that is called Definitely Maybe. I don't know if anybody here has seen Definitely Maybe, but it is starring Ryan Reynolds, who I do like. I think he's a big part of why I like that movie in general, even though it very much is a chicky flick. I like him. 2008 director was named Adam Brooks, and it is available on HBO. It is available on Amazon. Is also available on iTunes and everything like that. But Definitely Maybe is a total rom-com. Basically, Ryan Reynolds is retelling the story of how he met his wife, or how he met the mother of his child to his child. So he's got his daughter there, and he's telling his daughter
I've seen it.
about the story of him and his mom falling, him and her
I
mom
need to see
falling
it
in
again
love.
to make fun of it.
Yeah. So basically, it's three love stories. Basically, it's three love stories in one, because there's three girls that all could be the mom,
Yeah.
and the daughter's trying to guess which one it is. And so basically, he falls in love three different times, and each one's a different situation. Each one is a different stage of his life. I think they do a pretty cool job having each one kind of be a period piece in different generations, different time periods. But I admit, this is not like a good movie. Like, this is not a movie that is like necessarily well made.
No, what makes you like it though?
I don't know. I think that there's like a secret part
Because
of
he's
me.
always hanging out with hot chicks in the movie.
Well, there's definitely hot chicks, and I definitely like
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. But there's a like secret part of me that I just like repress over and over again, that like wants to be in touch with my emotions, and this is for whatever reason taps into that. I don't know why.
So you need to have 3 girlfriends.
Well, whatever.
If only we could be so lucky.
If only we could be so lucky.
And then he wants a child. He wants a little daughter.
Uh,
That's Connor's dream.
Well, it sounds like How I Met Your Mother met Mamma Mia.
What it sounds like is
Okay, well,
Connor.
I never saw
Connor
Mamma
wants
Mia.
a daughter, and then he doesn't want to have a wife. That's what it sounds like.
No,
'Cause
that
the
is not
mom's. That's what it sounds like. But
And I could just tell her stories of
yeah.
like, ooh, which one do you think? No, but yeah, How I Met Your Mother, good call. Mamma Mia, that can be your general admission for the day, because I never saw that one.
Wait, you've never seen even Broadway play Mamma Mia?
No, I've never seen anything Mamma
Oh.
Mia related.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
That'll be my general admission at least. But yes, wonderful movie.
Okay, but anyway, so Ryan Reynolds, he's retelling the story.
That's Jake, by the way. We kind of have to introduce who that third part. He's the engineer.
Yeah, by the way, Jake, engineer, loves Mamma Mia. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, there
about
you
him.
go. He is Mamma Mia.
But the kind of the sad, well, there's almost a sad turn at the end, which is that him and the mother are getting divorced at the present day when he's telling the story to the girl. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic that comes in.
I don't know why. I always thought she was dead.
No, she's not dead. She arrives at the end of the movie. They meet her up. They meet up with her at the end, so she's very very much alive. Anyways, if you haven't seen,
Well,
definitely
now I'm interested. So you're telling me this mom hasn't been around for the whole time
no, she has.
for this kid's life?
No, she has been around, but they
So
share.
she knows who the mom is then.
Yeah, but she doesn't know when they're retelling. He changes the names of the girls that he's
Okay.
telling her
so
about.
she knows who the mom is.
So she knows who her mom is, but she doesn't know which story.
Man,
is.
I guess I haven't seen that movie. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, I don't know. You're seeing like a darker movie. I don't know which one you're thinking
Maybe
of.
I was hoping she was dead. I don't know.
But
One of those
if
weird
you're looking
things.
if you're a girl
well, that's
and
a
you
chick
love,
flick, right? Was that a chick flick
definitely a chick flick.
with the male lead? Isn't that's
Yeah,
interesting?
yeah. He falls in love 3 times.
And,
Sounds like a lot of work.
well, also you said it covers like what? 10
Yeah, it covers
years?
several years. Yeah,
Something like that.
long period of time. So, anyways, if you're a guy and you're looking to have your heart melted, the heart of
That
ice
is-
melted
that,
a little
that doesn't
bit,
that doesn't do it.
that doesn't do it for you, Dick.
When you leave the movie, like, oh, I thought she was dead.
Yeah, something's wrong with you. Yeah, you've got some issues. But anyways, definitely maybe my first general admission.
Okay. My first general admission is the 1990 movie Notting Hill. I think when it comes to not chick flicks, but general admissions, the movies that really get me are movies that have a good soundtrack, and that movie definitely has a good soundtrack. It's also written by Richard Curtis, who does a lot of those interesting British films, like Love Actually. He's actually one of the original writers for Mr. Bean, which is interesting. But that movie was really well written.
Who's the lead character? Is that
Hugh Grant
Hugh
and
Grant.
Julia Roberts. And one thing that's funny about it is, there's always that typical movie where the superstar meets a regular anyone, like a regular guy or a regular girl or whatever. And this movie does it really well. I think it handles that kind of fantasy world that several movies are based off of. And this is probably the better ones out of all of them. It's not too unbelievable, but it's right there in the middle. It's funny, and there's a lot of British humor, which I really like. Is the witty humor, and then the overall telling of the story is nice. And the music helps it guide its way.
And it's kind of like a medieval feel, like era, something. I mean,
Medieval?
isn't it old?
No,
I've never seen Notting Hill.
it's Notting Hill's an area in England, and it's about.
Is it not old? Is it a present day movie?
Yeah, present day,
Oh.
like in the 2000s, and
I had no idea.
he runs into her because he owns a bookshop, and she was just visiting the area. She's she's Julia Roberts basically,
Oh.
but some other name.
Okay.
But she's Julia Roberts, and then that's how they meet, and it's like it goes over a span of 10 years or so about how they he always looks at her in the tabloids and it's not. I don't know how to put it. You haven't seen the movie?
I have not seen.
You need to
Notting
check it
Hill.
out, man.
Okay.
It's not too girly. It's not too over the top. But even though the plot is like, if you read it on paper, like, oh, one of these movies.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
well, I'm not going to
Those British people, again, these foreign movies, they get me, man.
I'm not going to fully commit to this next week, but I will try to at some point check out Notting
You're
Hill.
gonna watch it.
Oh my gosh. Yes, sir.
I'll bring it to you.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay.
On the DVD, you have a DVD player, right?
I don't know what that is. No, I'm
Okay.
sorry. My second one, my second general admission, and this is a weird one. This is kind of an out there pick, but the reason is because as somebody who tries to think that they have good taste in movies, this is totally like weird and kind of lame.
All right.
But it's
Can I guess?
yeah.
It's gonna be Dennis the Menace.
No. That's
Okay.
that was just out of nowhere.
I
You
tried.
just-
I tried.
Okay, well that was random, but no, it wasn't. It's a movie called 1776. It is a musical that has been that they have filmed as a feature-length movie. It stars Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World.
Yeah, William Daniels.
Okay.
He is John Adams.
Now, why is this something that you're ashamed of?
I think just because it's like a weird musical about them signing the Declaration of Independence, and like I love it.
But what's wrong with that?
It-
When you say you love,
Like I love it.
do you know every word?
Almost. Like I know
Do
lots.
you have the soundtrack?
Yeah, I do.
You own the soundtrack.
Not like on iTunes. I don't like have a CD of it or whatever.
Well,
but
how
let me
do
tell you the story.
How do you own it then? That doesn't. What?
It's called like I have it on my phone. Like I
Oh.
don't own a CD. You can own it like digitally.
Okay.
Have you heard of this? Digital?
Well, I thought you just said okay. Never mind.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry. So the reason why I love this movie, when I was in history class in like the 8th grade, my teacher was really bad. She didn't teach us anything, but she had this movie on one of those little portable TV carts, and we watched it like 12 times in a row because we didn't want her to.
You didn't have a curriculum,
Or she did not follow it, whichever one, or we like bullied her into
There
letting
are
us
some
do it.
movies like that. They
Yeah.
do show over and over and over.
At the Woodlands High School, it was October Sky in 1776.
Oh, man.
And so I saw it. We watched it like 12 times in a row, and by the end, we all knew all the words to all the songs. And it's kind of stupid, but I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And it's weird because it's so not like anything that I would just really like. And the subject matter is literally just them trying to sign the Declaration of Independence. Like, it doesn't go to the war. It doesn't go to anything. Like, 90% of the plot is inside the Continental Congress room where they're trying to vote and stuff. And like a lot of the intense scenes are like them saying yay and nay around the room, like voting. So it's not like the action is very limited. Not real
it's got
suspenseful.
Gwyneth Paltrow's mother in it.
Yeah, maybe.
The Blythe Danner.
Yeah. Okay. See, I didn't.
I'm gonna check this movie out. Where can I find this movie?
Okay, so it's available. I'm pretty sure I looked it up. It's available on YouTube. You can watch the full thing just for free on YouTube. But other than that, it's available on like iTunes or anywhere you can like
Rent it. You can rent it
do
for
a $2.99 rental.
$3 for standard def.
Yeah, and so, but again, I think it's available on Netflix or on YouTube for free. Maybe go ahead and give it like a little 10-minute watch and see if it's pulling you in before you spend the $3. But you can come back and I'll sing you some of the songs because I still know probably all the lyrics to all the songs from that movie. So 1776. Well, a little bit embarrassed, but I love it.
I'm looking this movie up right now, and the guy who directed it also directed the TV show Touched by an Angel,
which is a classic.
So this guy, and he also did a couple episodes of Baywatch. Wow. He's all over the place with this stuff.
He's got some range.
I like it.
Christian history,
and then Baywatch. So that's gonna be good. 1776, and you know what's funny is we talk about music earlier to draw us in. That's what draws me into movies. So that's probably why they taught it in class or showed it in class because now you know the songs. You probably know a lot more.
I know a lot about history.
Yeah.
Unless it's all lies.
I can't wait.
Well, check it out. 1776. If you like musicals, if you don't mind a movie, it was 1972 is when it came out. So if you don't mind a little bit older movie, then go on YouTube and watch it.
Man, that's good stuff, man. All right, so we're going to be closing out here the segment with my last one, my gym. I don't know if it's necessarily too much of a shame by, but it is Moulin Rouge. I really like the music in Moulin Rouge. To me, I remember the only reason I even started watching it because my sister's watching it. And it was the scene between it was the scene between Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman, and it was kind of a hybrid of different music that I liked. And I was like, and some people who were watching it thought it was an actual song. And I was like, no, that's like a mashup. That's a mashup of like 6 songs.
Okay.
And I really liked that mashup. I was like, that's really cool. It's some really great music. And then, of course, when they left, I watched it. And I was like, hey, this movie isn't that bad.
I also have not seen Moulin Rouge.
So it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's like a wonderful movie, but I just like the music.
You like the music. So you're like the music will suck you into these worst movies.
Yeah, anything that has a good music taste to it. Like, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't really want to see that, but when I saw the soundtrack, I was like, this is going to be pretty good.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Speaking of Guardians, we'll see if it has the same fun feel to it like the first
It's
one.
coming out next week.
Yeah, it's coming out soon.
So we're going to take a quick break here on the Ticket Stub. Coming up, we only have a couple more minutes left. We're going to be talking about the box office, what's coming out. We're going to be talking a little bit more about who's going to be competing against our heavyweight, Fate of the Furious. And hopefully that will be taken down next week. There's not really a big movie coming out this weekend. But, you're hanging out with us. Don't forget our show's podcasted on Google Play and also iTunes and YouTube. So subscribe and keep up with us. We have Facebook, The Ticket Stub, or got questions during the show, email us, theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com. You're listening to The Ticket Stub.
Hey there, Ticket Stub listeners. I want to tell you a quick opportunity for our next show on May 4th at noon on Lone Star Community Radio. We're going to be giving away 2 tickets for the 7th Annual Taste Fest, brought to you by the Lake Conroe Chamber of Commerce. We're going to do it live on the air, so stay tuned for that. If you don't know what Taste Fest is and when it is, on May 11th at the Lone Star Convention Center from 5 to 8 p.m., they're going to be doing a kind of a collection of all the restaurants in the area, giving away samples. Tickets are $15 in advance, $25 at the door. So technically, this is a $50 deal we're going to be giving away live on the air on the Ticket Stub. It includes 2 adult beverages if you're 21 or older, and it gains you entry into it. Again, you can find more information at conroe.org for Taste Fest. Make sure to tune in live through the Ticket Stub to win 2 tickets to the upcoming Taste Fest. That's on May 4th. We're giving them away. May 4th show, live on the air at noon. So if you're hearing this now, mark your calendars, noon, the Ticket Stub on Lone Star Community Radio.
Well, man, the hour goes quick here on the Ticket Stub. The hour goes quick, very fast, but we're going to go ahead in our final segment and try to wrap a few things up. We want to point you always to to what's coming out in theaters this weekend, because we want to make sure that you're aware of the things that are coming out. And really the big movie coming out this weekend is called The Circle. It's got Emma Watson, and it's got Bill Paxton is actually in it. But it's a movie with Tom Hanks also. Can't forget Tom Hanks. But it seems like it's kind of a not really like a sci-fi, like a thriller, like trying to figure out what's going on. Not really sure. She works for a tech company, and she starts to discover that some bad things may be going on behind the scenes. You know, there may be more to this company than what meets the eye. And so I think she ends up, what it seems like is she's going to get caught up in this little web. I'm not really sure that this looks like a good movie, to be honest, Dick. What do you think?
I mean, I don't like Emma Watson, but Tom Hanks is always entertaining. I think it's going to be one of those movies, depending on the runtime, if it'll keep you interested the whole time. What's one of my go-tos is, like, for example, the technical specs of this movie is an hour and 10 minutes. So that's a short movie.
This says an hour and 50 minutes.
Mine's saying runtime. I'm on IMDb. Where are you on?
IMDb.
Technical specs. Go down there. It says an hour and 10 minutes.
Well, look at the very top. You got to learn how to use IMDb, dude. It says The Circle 2017, PG-13, an hour and 50 minutes.
Hour and 15 minutes.
There's no way it's an hour and 10 minutes.
That's what it says. Okay.
They wouldn't release a movie that was an hour and 10
That's what I
minutes.
was about to say. That's going to be a crappy movie. Hour and 50 minutes, almost a 2-hour movie. That's the truth. And I think it's going to be one of those movies that if it's really told well, there's going to be a twist or two. And then at the end, it's going to be like Eagle Eye or something like that. It's just really interesting for the 2 hours. And then outside
That's
that,
like best case scenario.
best case scenario for this movie.
When you look at the poster, I thought it was one of those Dan Brown, like Angels and Demons and Da Vinci Code. Like, I thought it was, I was like, oh, did they make a third Da Vinci Code?
I mean, basically what I got from the trailer was it's supposed to be Google and what Google's going to be, or in the future where it watches everybody and she discovers how invasive it is, and we question the morality of our privacy. So
Yeah, well, I don't know if I want to watch
Watson,
Emma.
no.
I don't know if I want to watch her for
I think if
2
it
hours.
was like executive decision where she dies at the beginning, I'll check it out. I will check it out, and
So hopefully Emma Watson dies in the first 30 minutes, then Dick's in.
then 30 minutes.
Unfortunately,
10
I
minutes.
think she lasts the whole time.
Oh, well, it's gonna be
Oh, man.
could be a long 2 hours.
I-
but Tom Hanks is good. I like Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
He usually makes pretty good movies. So maybe this has some hope. IMDb gives it 6.4 out of 10 stars. So I imagine that's probably about right for what kind of movie it'll be. About 60%, something like that.
It's something that our parents would go see.
Yeah, our parents
That's
would
basically what it is.
our parents
It's
would-
a safe movie.
very safe would be my guess.
PG-13.
Yeah, I think
Tom
it's
Hanks.
right down the middle. Anyways, all right. So that's the big movie coming out this
That
weekend.
really is. That's the
Circle.
only big movie. Isn't that
So,
kind of crazy?
What that means is if you haven't seen Fate yet, if you haven't seen Fate
That's
of the
why I'm
Furious,
seeing it.
this is your weekend to go do that.
Dick, how have you not seen that yet?
I've been busy, man. We had that festival last weekend here downtown. This is actually the first weekend I'm taking a little time off because we have the Americana Festival and on the 5th. So
I think Dick is scared to open himself up to it because he may love it too much.
Have you seen it?
Oh, I saw it opening night.
Yeah.
Oh, golly.
It's good.
Yeah, we have a secret show that we haven't released where we talked about Fate of the Furious for like 45 minutes.
I can
so
talk about that movie or the series. I'm just excited. I really am. How much Corona was consumed in the movie? Because I kind of want to drink a Corona while watching it.
You know, Corona was less. Well,
There was no Corona in the
well,
movie.
I don't want to say there was no Corona, but there was less Corona. Part of it was that Vin was evil. Like, you know, he was on the bad team, and
So there's
Charlize
no
Theron
Corona
doesn't
time.
drink.
There's
Charlize
no-
Theron
yeah.
doesn't drink Corona, so that mixed things up.
As long as there's a plot point about someone drinking Corona, then it's my kind of movie.
Have you heard about the branch off they're doing with that?
No.
With The Rock and
Oh yeah.
not Vin Diesel, but Jason Statham.
Yeah.
They're doing a spin-off
Really?
with those two.
They're gonna do a lot of things with
Hey,
that
I'll
stupid
watch
franchise.
any single thing affiliated. I will be there for. Okay, so let's quickly, before we run out of time, talk about our summer blockbuster contest. So we still have Fate in the heavyweight division.
Fate of the Furious.
Reign supreme.
I think it was like 98 million for its opening
Yeah,
weekend.
98
locally.
million. Nothing's come
So-
even close. But in 2 weeks, Guardians of the Galaxy's coming out.
I thought it was next week.
Or next week. Sorry, not this weekend,
Yeah,
but
it's
the
May,
next week.
May 4th.
Yeah, so 2 weekends from now.
Well, I think it opens on Thursday.
Yeah, Guardians comes
That's
out.
right, Jake.
So that could be the come on, Jake.
Jake.
But that could be the first real threat to Fate in the heavyweight division.
Yeah,
In the lightweight division, though,
I don't think it's gonna beat it though.
I don't think so either. In the lightweight division, we got a new champion.
That's right. We had that that really great movie that made $100,000.
Yeah, it made like $100K.
So what beat it?
This week, the sleeper pick of the year to take the belt. It'll only last for a week probably, but it's a documentary about panda bears called Born in China. Disney released this movie. I didn't see it. It's probably really sweet and heartfelt and everything like that. It's one of those movies where they can just say like Disney and pandas, and like it'll make money with little kids who want to go see a movie about panda bears, I guess. But Born in China is what it's called.
Okay.
And so if you care about
How
pandas,
much money did it make?
like it's like 4 million, 4.7,
wow.
4.7 million.
Wow.
They were doing a promotion with it where if you saw it on opening weekend, X amount of the dollars was going to help those animals over in China.
To the pandas.
Yeah, pandas and whatever the monkey was, or not the monkey, the snow leopard.
Okay. Well, pandas are the only animal that don't want to reproduce in this world, and so they're kind of on like a suicide mission to go extinct. And so hopefully, if we can
Let
give
it
them,
happen.
hopefully if we can give them a little money, maybe the panda bears will help make more panda bears. But go see Born in China if you love panda bears.
Or no, what they should do is put the pandas in a room and have them watch Fair the Furious, and maybe that will just get them real energized.
Yeah, it could possibly do that.
Get us some Coronas.
Oh.
But yeah, so folks, we're gonna be shutting down this show. The movie I'm gonna watch this week is The IP Man, and then IP Man. I don't think it has the D in front of it. And then I'll definitely try to check out Faye the Furious. There's a good chance, about 85% chance I'm gonna be able to check that out.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go see GoldenEye, and I'm gonna try to go see.
It's on Amazon.
Yeah, on Amazon. I'm gonna try to get to the theater at Market Street to check out Lost City of Z because I haven't gotten to see that yet.
That looks interesting.
And I'd
I
like to
those
see
actors
that.
too. So.
Next week, just a little looking ahead. Next week, we're going to be doing some movie news. There's some things
That's true.
going on in the movie industry we're going to talk about next week. We're also going to be continuing the summer blockbuster competition. So be sure that you're tuning in next week. Be sure that you're liking our Facebook page, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, everything like that. Make sure that you're finding us on YouTube. The video feed of this episode will be on YouTube, so you can see all of our great facial expressions.
I don't know what camera's on us right now.
And how beautiful we are. We're waving right now. Hey, everybody. Yeah. And so find us in all those spots. Be sure to like us, comment, everything, engage the show. We're glad y'all are listening. Glad you're here. Excited to keep doing more episodes.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. This is the Ticket Stub, Lone Star Community Radio, or LoneStar.com. Download the app for next Thursday. Again, everything that Connor said, just do it, do it, do it. And I'm really excited about Fair the Furious. Hopefully I'll be returning with some Corona and have a good day, right?
Have a good day. Thanks for listening to The Ticket Stub. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at The Ticket Stub Podcast, our YouTube channel, The Ticket Stub, or send us listener email to theticketstubpodcast@gmail.com. We also have all of our podcasts available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. If you're in the Conroe area, be sure to tune in live every Thursday at 104.5 and 106.1 FM to hear it as it happens and interact live with the show. See you next time.